Well, welcome back to the most surprising things about the birth of Jesus podcast this week. And we're on day 3, and we're exploring one of the most iconic and the most misunderstood images of the Nativity, Jesus, the King of Kings, lying in a manger. See, it's not a cradle, it's not a royal crib, it's a feeding trough. And yes, it's as shocking as it sounds. We all know the word manger, we sing about it. We place tiny wooden replicas in our homes every December. But sometimes the familiarity hides the absurdity. A manger is not a cute wooden bed, it's an animal's food container. Rough, unsanitary, chewed on, and never meant for a newborn baby. And yet, the very first place the Son of God was laid was in a feeding trough. This is not a small detail. It's not background. It's the heart of the surprise. The Nativity story confronts us with this truth that God chose humility from the very beginning. He chose lowliness and he chose the margins. And that should make us pause because nothing about this scene looks royal. Nothing looks divine. Nothing looks like the arrival of the world's true king. But that's the point. God is rewriting the definition of greatness. So let's talk about the moment that set all of this into motion. The famous phrase, where there was no room for them. Bethlehem was Joseph's hometown. His family was from there. But the census brought crowds of people into the area. Distant relatives, travellers, everyone legally required to register. When Mary and Joseph arrived, the village was overflowing. Guest rooms, small, cramped, communal spaces were packed. There was no room. That's surprising in itself. You would think that if the Messiah was coming, doors would open, people would make space, someone would notice. But no one did. The world was too busy, too crowded, too unaware to make the room for the Saviour. And so Mary gave birth not in a guest room, but in a place where animals slept. This wasn't a quiet, pristine stable like in Christmas movies. It was rough, messy, smelly, and the last resort. And yet, there is where this is where God chose to enter the world. To truly appreciate the shock of Jesus' birthplace, let's step into first century Bethlehem for a moment. Imagine narrow, dusty streets, small stone homes packed against each other, family animals, sheep, goats, donkeys, often kept inside at night to warm or protect for warmth and protection. Most houses had two main spaces: a raised living area for the family, a lower area where animals were brought at night. And it's in the lower area that you would find mangers, feeding troughs carved from the from stone or wood, filled with hay and chopped stalks. This is likely where Mary gave birth, a dark, earthy, communal space meant for animals, not people. The air filled with smells of straw, moisture, and livestock. Not royal, not comfortable, not glamorous. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. God didn't wait for the perfect conditions. He entered the world in the ordinary, gritty reality. He stepped into humanity as it really is, not the cleaned up version we like to display in our nativity scenes. So let's not lose sight of the contrast here. The child in the manger is the long awaited Messiah. He is King of Kings, yet born in a space meant for animals. He is Emmanuel, God with us, yet placed where livestock ate. Every part of the moment is overflowing with irony. The world expected power, God gave humility. The world expected a throne. God gave a feeding trough. The world expected majesty, and God gave simplicity. This contrast is not accidental. It's intentional, it's theological, and it's revolutionary. Let's explore the deeper meaning of the manger, because this strange detail carries profound symbolism. A manger is open, accessible. Anyone can approach it, rich or poor, clean or unclean. By being placed in a manger, Jesus becomes accessible to all. There is no barriers between him and the world. God didn't choose a palace or a temple, he chose a feeding trail. From his first breath, Jesus shows that the kingdom is built on humility, servanthood, and downward movement. The world's definition of greatness is turned upside down. The high is made low, and the low is made lifted high. The manger says, God is not found where you expect him. He is found in the humble, the overlooked, and the ordinary. And this is the surprising beauty of the story. The Saviour is not out of reach. He is right where we are. And the manger is more than just a charming Christmas image. It, it is a declaration that God does not wait for the perfect condition, a declaration that he enters the low places of life, a declaration that greatness begins in humility. Jesus was born in a feeding trough, not just because the world was ready, but because the world wasn't. And through this surprisingly beginning, God tells us, I meet you in the ordinary, I meet you in the unexpected, and I meet you in the places that you would never think to look. So thank you for joining me on day 3. Tomorrow in day 4, we'll be exploring the greatest birth announcement in history was given not to the kings or the priests, but to the shepherds on the outskirts of society. So until then, may you find wonder in the humble, hope in the ordinary, and God's presence in places you'd least expect.